Hello, travelers. Welcome. Give me just some stuff here. Let me get some. Okay. Welcome, travelers, and hello. All right. What we got? We've got Kami, and we have Hydra here, which is lovely. So how are we all doing on this Friday evening? Hope we're all doing well. I will begin cabin news here in just a second. Yes, hi Hydra. Should be here. Okay, well then, let me see. Music good? Is everybody good? Hi Gamma, nice to see you. Appreciate you being here. Okay, well then I guess let's go ahead and start with cabin news. FYI, I have an obscene amount of drinks today. The drink goblin has struck once again. I do this a lot, so just beware. In this cup, I have a banana nut muffin herbal tea with some raw cane sugar for added taste and a little bit of sweetness. I also have some sparkling water, a root beer, and some water. So make sure that you guys get your drinks. Now I'm thirsty. I'm sorry, I don't know. I just do this. I do this accidentally. It's like a thing. It's like a thing that happens. You left your water on your desk though? That sucks. I want to get up to grab it. See, that's why I have Hydra. He'll just get my drinks for me. And he would have totally grabbed my project that I forgot on the couch, but I grabbed it. Aha. Annie Cahoodle. So, let's go ahead and begin. So, my projects for this week. I usually have about 4 projects running at once. Granted, I have 12 actual projects, but 12 projects that I'm working on at any given point. Okay. So, let's go ahead and start. So, this is the first project for updates, and this is my grandfather's blanket. I have made exactly, I think, 1 row of progress. So there's nothing going on here. Nothing at all. We're gonna hopefully work on this here soon. I did do a poll on my Twitter, and people have decided what project we're gonna work today while we're talking about our story. So, if you want to pick my project next time, follow me on X at Cozy Crypt. Anyway. Can I try what again? If you want to pick my projects next time, you can go to my X, or Twitter, at Cozy Scripteds, and pick my project there. I'll usually put it on Friday, a couple hours beforehand. So, alright, so that is my grandfather's blanket. I just tried to help me in it. Okay. I'm gonna try that. So that one, obviously, background music, loud. try that for the music. Right. So anyway, that is my grandfather's blanket. I've not worked on it at all. But I did have some exciting news with this. I started better. I started this project last time when I was talking about the Bjork Stalker. And I actually only started the base, which is basically it's mint green. So I actually only started the base stitch, which is stitch, and then worked my way up, and that's what I've been doing. Working on a couple of other projects, but I don't know what to do about my mic cutting. Hydra the tech help me.
My face against the mic, so I feel like just close as possible.
Well, isn't the problem that I'm too out? Okay.
That's what we're.
Okay, so we're gonna try it the mic closer to my face. See how that works. Anyway, so I actually was able to get quite a bit of stitches done. This is my shawl. So this is my shawl project, and I am basically just wanting a nice mint green. Is it the attack or whatever on the noise date? I have no idea. Progress? Yes, progress. There's progress. I actually adjusted it from 20 inches to 30 inches, so I added an extra 10 inches of length to the shawl, so now she's long. She's very long. And I don't know, I was looking for something kind of like, this is like the softest yarn that I own, so it's very fluffy and squishy, and I just could not. It is a good bit better now. Well, damn. Very well could be the noise gate. That's this, right? Gotcha. Anyway, this is the softest yarn that I own, so I really, really wanted a nice, just squishy shawl. And so far, it is turning out to be a very nice, squishy shawl. I'm very excited about it. So that is a lot of progress made in a very short amount of time. But the shocking news that I have for y'all is this mass of yarn. I have finished my wedding blanket, finally. After 4 years of being married, I have finished the wedding blanket. It is done. It is off of my hook. It is finished. I technically have some ends to weave in, but that's not right now Cozy's problem. That's later Cozy's problem. That's not involved with. Okay. I'll do that later. I just don't want to do it right now. So we have this. This is done. I'm very happy about that. For a project that I've been working on for 4 years, it's really satisfying to have it done. This isn't the oldest project I've ever had, but this is definitely up there, and I'm just so happy it's done. Just so very happy. Now I don't have to work on it anymore. It is roughly the same size as a queen size blanket, so it's very big and wide and long. So it took me 4 years to work on. And it's heavy. It is so heavy. Okay. Final project that I'm going to talk about is this. Actually, I just lied. I have one more project. Is this. This is my Winnie the Pooh scarf. And I actually have not worked on this at all. Normally I try to work on every project at least a little bit between last week and this week. Literally haven't touched this at all. It is at the exact same spot. And this is what everybody voted for me to do today, when I did that poll. So we will be working on this while I'm talking about our Panama missing hikers. And we're gonna see how far I can get. So this one, basically what I'm going for is a couple of rows of green. So as you can see, I only have the one right now and then nothing, right? So the whole thing is I need to go all the way around to add this stitch. And then once I do that, you do it 3 more times. And then we'll see where we are and how it looks. Once I get to that point, I'm just not really sure. We'll have to see when we get there. So we're gonna see what we're gonna do. This green is what? Well, it's Lion's brand yarn, which is my favorite brand yarn. And it is Pine Heather is the color. And it's Lion brand yarn basic stitch if you want similar. Not as soft as the as this one, which is the feels like butter. It's literally butter, not butter, butter. This one, I don't know. This one's just extra soft and squishy. But the basic stitch is fine. Don't get me wrong. It's fine. You like the green color? Of which one? Ah, the real talent of the snake moth household has arrived. Why, thank you. And also, hello, Poppy. It is a pleasure to see you. I'm just kidding. We all know it's Jack. You know what? You're right. Jack is the talent of this household. The light one. This one is so nice. It's just so squishy. And I love it. I'm doing a fancy stitch with this, actually. Where I'm only stitching in the very back loop, which causes it to have this, like, kind of grain on it. I saw you knock stuff off of the counter and then show people rebut. That was my first clue. Dan, how do you know? He feeds me all the jokes I make on stream. He's just our Jack Jack. He's a very special boy. Okay. So that's that. That's this. And then shockingly, okay, if I can get it without destroying my entire desk. I actually, green fur, orange at heart. That is Jack Jack, actually. He is an orange cat in disguise. I have actually no idea where he is right now, but I'm sure he's somewhere. I actually managed to work on my sweater this week, which is wild. Oh, hello, Jack. Speak of the devil. So I added some stitches on the armhole, and basically what I'm trying to do is shrink cat sweater. I hardly know her. Dan, shut up. So I actually added some stitching around the armhole, and what I'm trying to do, I'll cry. I was gonna say, I'll make Hydra time me out for 10 seconds. I don't mind. I really don't mind. Anyway, so I'm trying... One finger on the trigger. Hydra. Thank you, I appreciate that. So I'm trying to basically shrink the armhole down a little bit because it is actually way too wide. And so I'm trying to shrink it down so that it actually would fit this. So this is basically all I did here is that I took my squares and I put little stitch markers. That's what these are called, the little plasticky bits. And I put the stitch markers around to basically make a sleeve, okay? Which is basically just my base idea of like how big it's gonna be when it goes through my arm, right? So I figured out that this is gonna be 80 stitches, okay? This is where the math comes in, and I'm not good at math. Hi, Kami from YouTube. Okay, but is this close knit as our friend circle? This is crochet, Dan. How dare you? Knitting is completely different. This is crochet. Learn your stitches. How dare you? Anyway. So I figured out that this is 80 stitches around, okay? And the armhole originally was like 110 or something like that. Yeah, Dan. Thank you, Poppy, for defending me. I love that. I love crochet, but I'm bad at getting the ball into the little archway, though. The ball? What are... What? We're gonna come back to that. Croquette. Croquette. I forgot that croquette was a thing. Entirely. Normie. No, Dan. We're now watching you. This is now Dan's stream. We're just gonna watch Dan now. So, Dan, how are you doing? Anyway, so the armhole was like 105 stitches, so I'm trying to shrink it down to 80 so it'll match with this. I don't do well under pressure. Fine, Dan. Fine. But act up again and I'll make it your stream. Okay. Tommy is just everywhere. How do you shrink it? That is a great question, Poppy. So, okay. So when you have a basic stitch, okay, so you basically do one in and then one out, which doesn't make any sense unless you crochet. Hang on. So basically you have a single stitch. Not to derail too much, but what is the difference? I will tell you in just a moment. So, when you do a crochet, you basically do a basic stitch. That's what these are. These are basic stitches. So, when you want to shrink, instead of going through each individual loop, you would go through 2 loops at once, which then takes two individual loops and turns it into 1 loop, okay? And that shrinks it. So you go from having 5 stitches. If you go into 2 loops, then it turns into 4. So, and that's how you shrink it down. For this one, I was doing every 10 stitches, I would have a decrease. That is what the shrinking is called, is decreasing, because you're decreasing the amount of stitches that you have. And with this, it equaled out to about every 8 stitches I was losing, which kind of perfectly makes it so that this will be 80 stitches, because right now it's at 88. So I need to do one more round of decreasing in order to make it 80 stitches, which will match this. And then I can sew this together and add it to the sleeve, and now I have the beginning of my own sleeve. This is a lot of math. Yes, and I'm terrible at math. Okay, back to Dan. Not to derail too much, but what is the difference between crochet and knitting? So, I've heard crochet is almost as much of a science as it is an art. Yes and no. You're not wrong. So, for the basic difference between crochet and knitting, your basic one, is that you're going to be, crochet has a needle, a single hook, okay? Some people call it a needle, it's a hook, okay? What they call it is a hook. And this is just how you do it. So you would go through a loop, grab the yarn, and pull out, okay? Papa. Or what'd you put here? Hydra is gonna give me some knitting needles so I can show the difference. For this demonstration, before we get into it. Knitting, okay, is done with 2 needles. Hook, needle, hook, needle. While they are both used to basically make knots in the yarn, this is way loopier. I do mean loopier, like you loop things through. Versus needles, which is way more knotting. That's what I would call it. Making loopy holes, you're making a knot. So if you see somebody with 2 needles going like this, or anything like that, 2 needles, it's knitting. 1 hook, it's crochet. That's how you can tell. How long have you been at this? Like, is it a childhood passion or something that came later? Glad you asked. So I have been knitting since I was about 10. 10? Yes, 10. And I won't tell you how long it's been, because that would tell you how old I am, but very long time. I've been knitting for a very, very long time, since I was a little kid at 10. Crochet, I picked up as a pandemic hobby. And I actually taught myself how to crochet. I could not... My father taught me how to knit. Mothman taught me how to knit, okay? Because knitting is really hard to self-teach. It's really hard to learn on your own. Crochet, not that hard. If you're gonna start a yarn hobby, I would highly recommend you start with crochet. Because it took me, I don't know, I want to say about 2 months of crocheting before I got the stitches down. It took me probably about 2 years of knitting before I got the stitches down correctly, with the correct amount of tension and everything like that. Tension, when I say that, is the when I'm working the yarn, that's the tension. It's the tension that I would put on yarn from my fingers to the skein to keep the knots consistent. So if you want to start something, I would highly recommend you start with crochet. Reminds me of Poppy jumping from painting on canvases to painting models. Not the same, but knowing one probably helps learn the other. Yes, Dan, absolutely. Because I had the advantage of I knew how to hold attention. And that is something that apparently everybody has a really hard time with when it comes to holding tension. I learned from knitting. Hilariously though, you hold yarn differently. Well, at least I do. There's different ways of doing every project. There's never going to be a one and done thing, right? Real cozy hours. Hi, Toast. Hi, Toast. So everybody has their own way of holding the yarn. If I am knitting, I hold the yarn like this. So it goes in through my pinky, over my ring finger, and out, right? And that is how I hold my tension. I use my pinky to keep it taut. When I am crocheting, I hold my tension with my pointer finger, and then I grip it so that it keeps very, very tight. Woo, I am here to vibe Toast. Enjoy. When in doubt, pinky out. Ah! But Dan, when in doubt while crocheting or knitting, pinky in to hold the yarn. Huh? Huh? Yeah. Anyway, So that's would be my basic. If you see somebody on the street doing something with a hook or a needle, the hook is going to be crochet, the needle is going to be knitting. Yeah. Does that make sense to everybody? And this is a skein of yarn. S-K-E-I-N. Skein? Is that how you spell skein? We're gonna go with that. I'm terrible at spelling. Look, there is a reason I'm a moth in a cabin, okay? I can't spell and I can't do math. Alright. Annie Cahoodles, let me take a sip of tea and then I guess we will go ahead and get into it if everybody is ready. If anybody has any more questions, let me know. Oh, by the way, if Poppy is still here, this is technically not a Poppy safe stream, but I will let you know when it becomes a not safe Poppy stream. Okay, so I will give you a warning, Poppy. What are we sipping? Last question. Well, hilarious that you ask. Which one? No, I'm kidding. No, I actually have all of these. Poppy gotta head to bed anyway. Well, they go get to bed, Poppy. Gosh. I'm drinking banana nut muffin herbal tea. Autism. Thank you. Poppy, you understand. See, the containers make me want to yell at Poppy. It's a thing. Okay, Hydra, is it a thing? It's a thing. Look, the love of drinks is just a thing. I'm gonna have multiple drinks. This one is for warmth. This one is for flavor. This one is for tummy, because tummy can get upset. And hydration, obviously. So if you see me reaching over this way, that's where all my drinks are currently located. So, yes, enjoy. I have warm water, taste, cold. Thank you. Thank you. I struggle with social cues. Consume liquid. And that's how I get through every social situation, is just holding something and going, yeah, uh-huh. Yep, lovely, Oh, goodness, you know, I've never heard that before, gosh. That sounds real scary, You don't say. Wow, that's crazy, Sip. Yes. That's how you get through all social situations, is 100%. My Midwest came out. Well, gosh, now, did you have to mention that? Jeez. I do have a great Midwest accent, I'm not gonna lie. Alright. Are we ready, travelers, for our discussion of the evening? Well, let me get crochet ready. Okay. Sometimes when Poppy apologizes, I make fun of her because she's just so sorry. Nan, don't make fun of Poppy. She's my Poppy. I love my Poppy. But also, I would totally make fun of her for that too. Just, what am I even doing with this? Hang on, I forgot what in the hell I'm even doing. Talk amongst yourselves. Yeah. Am I doing single? Oh, I am doing single. Yeah. Huh. Okay. Anyway. Bully the Canadian? Well, I mean, look. I don't know what you're talking about. French. Fuck the French, and they're adding letters that don't need to be in there. What am I doing? Your best, Cozy. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. It's hard when I start a project and then I put it down for a week and I don't touch it. Just to look at her own. Stops her entire stream. Just to... Leave me alone, Hydra. Leave me alone. You wouldn't want me to mess up on my Winnie the Pooh scarf, would you? Would you, Hydra? Exactly. Okay. Alright. So, let me head in this. Oh, did I even check if my PowerPoint was working with all of my pictures? Gosh, I bet you I didn't. That'd be really funny. Well, let's see if this works. Yay, it worked. Would you look at that? Okay, so let us begin. So, the two girls that are directly there, that is Chris Craners and Lizanne Froon, and it's right here. The one in blue, I believe, is going to be Lizanne, and the blonde girl is going to be Chris, the one in the red and white stripes. And this is the story of their disappearance. So this is going to be the Panama missing hikers. So, let us begin. So these two girls, okay, they are Dutch students, two Dutch students, okay? And Chris and Lizanne had just recently graduated university with their degrees, which I cannot remember what their degrees are, but they got degrees, okay? They are now well-educated, college-educated women, okay? They have just graduated, they're trying to figure it out. They are best friends and roommates. Oh my god, they were roommates. So, since these two girls had just graduated, they wanted to do their own thing, right? Which, you know, fair. Go off, do your own thing. So they were best friends, currently roommates, and they were working, just trying to, you know, make ends meet, etc. And they decided that they were going to save up together, and they were going to do this, like, fun trip. And they were going to go to Panama. Now, Panama is beautiful. Never been there personally, but I've seen lots of pictures, and it's really, really pretty. But, being the college students that they are, and actually just wonderful people, by the way, these two were really, and the yarn barfed. That, my yarn barfed. So, a yarn barf, by the way, is when you are working from a skein and a massive knot just comes out. And it's really sad. Panama is nice, but there's this fucking huge hole in the middle of it that people keep putting ships through. Dan, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Can I get Hydra to come fix my yarn barf? Hydra's gonna fix my yarn barf. He does a great job at that. Hey. Hang on, I am handing the... So, you're gonna get my hands for a little bit. I'm not gonna be doing anything. Wow, the... fucking had it. It did have... I hate when yarn barfs happen. It's a gigantic knot. That's all it is. And it's really annoying. Done? Done? No way. You did not finish that quickly. What would you look at that? He finished it just like that.
Not.
Just like me, for real.
I always think.
Nice one, Hydra. You always finish quickly. Are you sure you want to put that on on the internet? I need a haircut. Oh, does your hair look like a yarn barf? I could see it. Anyway. Where was I? So now that they're on their own, being girls, they decided they were going to save up and go to Panama. Now, Panama is beautiful, blah, 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 blah. And it also has a lot of hiking trails. It says no, but it's long enough to... It's trying to become dreads. Go get a cut. Yeah, for sure. Dreads are stinky. Go get a cut. So... But, of course, they're really great people, so they decide that they're not only going to go to Panama, but they're going to go to Panama to volunteer. Okay? They were like, we're going to go and be helpful people. We're going to go volunteer at a school, a local school in Panama, just to be helpful while they're staying in Panama. So, they save up just enough money. And let me see, that would be late March of 2014. They make it to Panama. Now, the whole point of going to Panama is to have some great hikes, to volunteer. So they get there late March, and they get told by the school that they're going to volunteer that, oh, that's so great that you're here to volunteer. The school's not open. It won't be open for another week. So they're like, well, shit. So, being that they're already planning on being in Panama for a long time, and they were just gonna go speak fluent Spanish and learn, they were gonna go ahead and see some sights, enjoy the area, and, you know, be two girls in their young 20s exploring, you know? So, they're staying at their host place. I think it's actually a hostel or a hotel, something along those lines. They're staying with people in Panama. And they decide, you know what, we're going to go ahead and book some hikes. And, you know, they've done this before. They've already pre-booked a lot of hikes on their way there, but they were expecting school to be going, so they're like, you know what, we're gonna go, and we're gonna go explore by ourselves, which, two young girls, I personally wouldn't, but that's me, and also I have hindsight is 2020, because I know what happens. So they decide they're going to go on some baby hikes, you know, nothing that requires a guide, really. It's just certainly a choice. Hi, Nick. And yes, definitely a choice. They felt very comfortable in this small local village, like this tiny village in Panama. They felt very safe. Which is very nice that they felt safe. I wouldn't have, because where they stayed in Panama also has, so it's like a little village, right? So you have your little village here, and you have all kinds of indigenous people all over here. So you have like the little village. It's not really a tourist village. Like there's some things to see. There's basically a gigantic rock that looks like a piano. Exciting, I know. And some hiking trails. This isn't like a resort, okay? This isn't like your fancy smancy resort in Panama. This is like, it's a small town. Claim to fame is a rock, okay? So, going out exploring on your own, I wouldn't, but that's me. And plus, they had planned to go on an actual, like, expert hike the next day, but today they were like, let's go out and go have fun. So the day is April 1st, 2014, but this is no joke. This is no prank. They decide we're going to go ahead and go on a lovely hike. So they go and have breakfast at the local like restaurant. Very small, local owned, etc. And they were seen with two men, and that was the last time that like the village saw them. Like the whole town, that was the last time they saw them. They were having breakfast with these two guys. No problem. Now the restaurant where they ate had a dog. I know, I'm bringing a dog into this conversation so early. But the restaurant where they ate had a dog, and that dog, his name was Azul, which is blue in Spanish, if you didn't know. So Azul was very happy, very friendly little pup. I don't know what breed. I apologize, I couldn't find what breed of dog. My deepest apologies to every pet lover out there. Apparently Azul was just a really nice little puppers. So they decided they were going to eat breakfast. They were like, oh my god, your dog is so friendly. They were like, yeah. Oh, by the way, the dog's going to follow you around a little bit. Don't worry about it. Azul always comes home. So the girls were like, oh cool, well, we're going to go on a hike. So is it okay if Azul comes? And the people were like, yeah, go ahead. Azul always comes home. Go ahead. So about 11 a.m., they leave and they begin their hike. Now, of course, this is the last time that anybody sees them. It's really sad. So they go on their hike, and later on, I believe it was late evening. So to me, late evening is usually around like 6, 7, 8. After 8, it becomes nighttime. The dog comes back. Dog comes back at the restaurant. The dog is unharmed. And the dog shows up at the restaurant. And the family who owns the dog, who owns Azul, is just like, oh, well, didn't he go with the hike with the girls? Oh, I'm sure it's fine. Basically, I would assume that if it was my dog and my dog came back without the girls, maybe the girls just dropped off the dog, went back to the hotel, went back to where they were, like where they were staying, and, you know, maybe they just didn't want to talk. Fine, either just came back from a really long hike, whatever. And that was kind of it. Now, what nobody else knew was that the hotel that they were staying at, the hostel, also hadn't seen them. But they figured, oh, well, you know, we don't keep, like, uber good track of our guests. You know, they're allowed to go in and out as they please. Not our problem. Maybe they stayed with somebody. Maybe they stayed with the two guys that they met at breakfast. I don't know. Who knows what these girls do? So another day passes. Nobody sees nothing. And then the next couple of days, the village starts being like, so what happened to our volunteers that were going to be here, Chris and Lizanne? What happened to them? What happened to Chris and Lizanne? So the town contacts basically the local police in Panama. And the Panama police contacts the Dutch police, or this, it contacts the police from where they're from, okay? So, April 6th, this is 5 days later, okay? They go missing on April 1st, April 6th. Chris and Lizanne's family arrive in Panama to search for their daughters, as you would. And they also the police came with them, along with search dogs, and a whole investigation began. So, basically, we've got everybody's searching for these girls, because it doesn't quite make sense that they would just fall off the face of the earth. and a 10-day search began. They searched up and down, they searched popular trails, they knew that they were hiking in the trails, so they searched the baby trails, they searched the expert trails, they searched everywhere they could. Search dogs found nothing. Basically the search party found nothing. Nobody found anything. It's just like they disappeared. They just fell off the side of the earth. There's no gear, there's no sign of struggle, just nothing. So, now let's fast forward a little bit. So, April 6th is when the 10-day search started. April 16th, they can't find anything, so they're kind of giving up. June 14th. Okay, this is a long time later. A local woman from the village, not the village that they were staying in, but a neighboring village, okay? She reports to the police, hey, I found a backpack. The local police is like, a backpack? A backpack of what? So she reports where she found the backpack, and she reports what's in the backpack. So the backpack they had found, that this woman had found, was on the riverbank. Okay, now here's where this gets weird. So the river flows, right? It goes flow. The backpack was found right here. And the thing is that the backpack was clean, relatively clean. The goods inside the backpack were folded neatly, this is weird. Okay, this backpack would have been sitting out from their Kristen Lizanne's disappearance to when it was found was 10 weeks. 10 weeks. And it looked really clean. So everyone's like, oh, that's not. It said, oh, it's cold in my office. It can't be more than 53 degrees. Burr. That sounds lovely, but burr. Anyways, so they're like, this seems really suspicious. And the woman reports that she walks on this way all the time. And the day before, so that would be June 13th, the backpack wasn't there. And now magically this backpack is there. After 10 weeks of these girls being disappeared. It was probably placed there. There's no way this just magically showed up next to the river. Now, here's where the problem begins, because let's begin with what's in the backpack. The backpack contained 2 sunglasses, $88 in American money, American US dollars, Lizanne's insurance card, a water bottle, Lizanne's camera, put a pin in that, pay attention to the camera, okay, they found a camera, remember, 2 bras, and both of the girls' phones, okay? As well as when they went through the backpack, there was multiple fingerprints it's found. They couldn't, like, identify any of the fingerprints, but more than just Lizanne and Chris. That is for sure. So now we have some technology, we have some proof of their stuff, but not a whole lot. The concerning thing is, I believe, don't quote me on this, but one of the girls had asthma. I'm pretty sure it was Lizanne. Don't quote me on that. And there was no inhaler in the backpack. Now, as somebody who knows people who have asthma, they always have their inhaler with them. That is like the thing. You go somewhere, you have your inhaler with you, because not being able to breathe is bad. So where in the hell is her inhaler? What is with these individual things that are in there? And the 2 bras is concerning just in and of itself. So, they were able to charge the phones and they were able to charge the camera. And the big shocker is that all three of these devices all turned on, which is just great. That means we have some answers, right? Like, we could get some answers. See what's on there. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start with the phone records, and then we're gonna go ahead and take a tiny break. Okay. So we have two phones. We have an iPhone 4, which is Chris's, and a Samsung Galaxy S3, which is Lizanne's. Okay. And the phone records show that basically when they went out on their hike, something bad happened kind of shortly after that. So as we could see from the picture, they obviously made it to the summit, and then something happened. So right about 4:40, Chris's phone makes an emergency call attempt to 112, which is apparently the emergency line from where they're from. I didn't know this very well, but apparently there is so many different 911s for everywhere. I had no idea. Emergency lines have different numbers. It sounds like a bad idea to me, personally. Just saying. That's not here nor there. So, in America, it's 911. In Panama, it is also 911. But clearly, there was a panic, and they called the emergency number that they knew. So that was at 4:40, and then Lizanne's phone makes another 112 call attempt at 4:51. No signal was found because they're in the middle of Panama on a mountain. Then Chris's phone calls, and then again. So we now have like 1, 2, 3 emergency phone calls that don't go through without signal. And then Lizanne's phone makes another call to 112 and 911. And the fourth call attempt from Lizanne's phone. And let me see what. Oh, it doesn't say. But the fourth time that Lizanne's phone tried to call 911, it did make a connection for 1 second. Literally 1 second before disconnecting. And then we start having check signals kind of back and forth. So this is on April 1st, okay? April 2nd, we have check signals and call attempts. It looks like the phone is Lizanne's phone is on the entire night and is constantly checking the signal. This is April 2nd. April 3rd, we have another call attempt from Chris's phone at 9 a.m. A check signal attempt and another check signal attempt, all from Chris's phone. Lizanne's phone is just turned off at this point. Probably because the battery was dying, so they just turned off the phone. We have no idea what's happening, by the way. All we know is the phone logs. April 4th, we have a couple other signal checks. And Lizanne's phone, we have one more signal check before the battery is dead. Just dead. And we have no further activity from Lizanne's phone. So we then get to April 5th, where we have a check signal, April 6th, another check signal. Like they're doing it once in the morning and once at night, trying to see if they can find any signal at all. And here's where it gets fishy. Is that Chris's phone on April 5th has a signal check and no PIN. So that means somebody tried to enter in the PIN on their phone, on Chris's phone, and it didn't work. Somebody is trying to enter in password. and it's not working. Next day, the phone is turned on, but no pin. Again, turn on, no pin, and in the evening. And then on April 11th, there was another signal check and an emergency call attempt, because you can do that with an iPhone. You can say emergency phone call. And that didn't work either because no signal. And the ping just, somebody's trying the pin. Constant going back and forth, trying, not working. And before eventually the phone's just switched off, and that's it. That's all we know. This is fishy. This entire thing is very fishy, and it's uncomfy. And we will talk about more after a short break, so I can get a tiny break. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go to the BRB. Quick break time. Alright, y'all, and I will be back in just a few minutes. glitched. Right. And we are back. I think glitched a little bit. So if it looked a little weird on the way in, don't worry about it. Just ignore it. It was just the wind. Anyway. Alright. Where were we? Okay. So. I'm worried. Dan, calm down. I just said don't worry about it. It was the wind. Leave it alone. Okay. So. We went ahead and we talked about Chris and Lizanne's phone logs from the day of the hike, right? So, the question really is, been trying to figure out that draft for the freaking ever. Oh, the wind. I forgot I said that 2 seconds ago. I guess I can't make fun of Hydra anymore. Oh, also, while I was on break, I realized I didn't actually show you guys the contents of the backpack. We have a picture of it. Now, the thing with this is that we'll talk about the camera in just a second, but that there was a lot of pictures. I cherry-picked 3. Okay, so anyway, so as you can see in the picture, we have 2 bras, 2 sunglasses, bag. Doesn't show the contents of like this is in poor taste for me to say, but that bra large. Yeah. I guess you can actually kind of technically see the bra in the picture. So then we know that the colorful bra is Lizanne and the dark bra is Chris's. Just in case you were wondering. So. Phone logs, oh, incorrect pins, right? Being entered into Chris's phone. So here is where the problem that a lot of people have. The question is, why does the phone keep on having incorrect pins? Who is using Chris's phone? Right, that's the question. And nobody knows. There's theories. We'll talk about the theories later. I have them all kind of stashed away for the end, but just keep that in mind. This is funky. This is weird. This is uncomfy. So, anyway, let's talk about the camera. Okay, so the camera was found in the backpack as well, and it works. So they turn on the camera, and what they find is a couple of pictures. They find a lot of pictures actually, but the first couple of pictures is pictures like this. With Chris, walking on the river. Look at how nice that is. A nice, great little hike. Okay. And this is the problem with the hiking trail. Is that the hiking trail was meant for new explorers up until a certain point. About halfway in the trail, most people would stop and turn around and come home. And it's clear that that's not what Chris and Lizanne did. Now, of course, this is Panama. The whole hiking trail thing isn't as clear as others. If you don't know where you are, you don't know where you are. You're not going to be like Bob, who's grown up and who was born and raised in this area, knows every trail like the back of his hand. You're not from there, you're not going to know where the trail goes, okay? So like I said, it's apparently a very clear trail up until a certain point. About halfway up, you get to the top, see this beautiful view, and then you're supposed to go ahead and turn around. So, we have this really nice picture of Chris at a lovely thing. They take this picture at the summit, and that's the end of the nice pictures. This is the last nice picture that was taken on the camera. Chris walking on the trail. Now, some people have, like, triangulated or done something, I don't know, and figured out that this picture was kind of roughly taken around, like, 2 o'clock-ish. Now, if we remember, according to the phone logs, the first help call went out at about 4 o'clock. So everything was fine until about 4. So 11 to 4, everything's fine. Something happens. And then we start getting a lot of pictures. Now, these pictures are taken anywhere from seconds between, so just like click, 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 or 15 minutes, 20 minutes, hours between each picture from the time of April 1st to April 11th. Okay? So what's in these pictures, you might ask? It's a lot of pictures like this. The cliff's edge at dark. It's a picture of a trail. It's a picture of a path. It's a picture of a candy wrapper next to somebody's foot. I didn't include all of these because there's a lot of pictures. I'm not doing that. I'm not in the mood. Go digging around for all these pictures. If you want to find them, please go. Have a blast. I'm not going to do it. So, there's theories about what the pictures are for. Now, the questions about the pictures, I understand. My theory, and the theory I agree with for a lot of people, is that the pictures were taken at night to use the flash. As you can see, that the flash is on in these pictures. I think they were used to try to figure out how to get back. Because it's dark, and they weren't supposed to be night hiking or anything like that. This is supposed to be a cute little day hike that they went on. I think they're using this to try to figure out what's going on. There are other theories about that, but we'll get into it later. This is the theory I personally believe. Looks like we're about to have a run barf. Okay, let me see. Yep. Whew. Hey, this one came undone. Super easy. That's nice. That doesn't happen very often. Okay. So, we're taking pictures at night. It's a little sketch. And that's all we know, right? And then here are some of the last pictures that were taken, which really piques everybody's interest. So, one of the last pictures taken on the camera before the backpack was found is this picture, which you can see is taken April. It actually has a time date on there. April, but the date's wrong. The date is wrong, so ignore the date for a second. We're just going to pay attention to the long strawberry blonde hair, which is believed to be Chris's hair. Now, everybody has things about this picture. I'll tell you what people usually say is that they can see a gash, wound, and blood in this picture. I can sort of see it, but not really. I think that's the camera. Like, this isn't like a, oh my god, 4K camera, precision it's a little Canon. It's a little Canon picture, okay? So, this is the question. Why would you take a picture of somebody's back of their head in an emergency situation? Nobody knows. I don't know why this picture was taken. But it's scary and it's spooky. So, Now, at this point, the search party was in June, and nobody could find anything. Or June was when they found the backpack. Mid-April is when they gave up searching for the girls. June is when they found the backpack. Now, 2 months after that, we're in August now. August of 2014. They're walking, just like usual. People are walking around by that river because it's apparently a very well-traveled path. And they find pants. A pair of shorts. Sorry, not pants. Where the backpack was found. So, you have the river here, backpack was found here, pair of shorts, neatly folded on a rock over here. This has been now months. Like, oh, well, let me see. It's been 4 months since these 2 girls went missing. And now suddenly, there's these women's pants, a pelvis bone, and a boot with a foot still inside. All discovered on this rock. Or like near this rock. Near the river. What happened? Oh my god. So we go from... these things weren't there the day before either. And so more people go out. We're doing another search party. Why'd she drop this? The boot with the foot and the neatly folded pants on the rock. Like, nobody can look at me and tell me that that's not hella suspicious, okay? Incredibly suspicious. So they do another search around the lake, around this, and they find more bones and pieces of bones. Roughly 30% of the bodies are found of Chris and Lizanne. And it's a mix, obviously, but it's like a little bit of broken bones here, a little bit of broken bones there. Now we know what happened, right? Well, we at least have the outcome of what happened to these 2 girls. They've obviously died. Which is very sad and tragic because these 2 girls were just going to Panama to volunteer and to explore the world. Here they are with bits and... So, Lizanne's foot was the one found in the boot, and it was only partially decomposed. This is where... Yeah, gasp. This is where it gets kind of icky, so if you're not really into hearing about this kind of stuff, the between bones, bodies, and icky stuff, if you're eating, I would probably stop eating or come back to this later. It'll be a VOD, and it'll be on my YouTube, which for a while, so you can come back to it. Anyway, give you a second. She's describing a very strange broth. You don't know yet. Okay. Assuming the people who don't want to be grossed out have left. The bones are all found in various different states of decomposition. Chris's bones, which were identified through DNA, which only was like 5%. Okay, Chris's body was found. She was in a lot further state of decomposition, where basically her bones were just clean, and Lizanne's still had flesh attached to them. They were still they were bones, but they still had some extra stuff. My theory is wait, I was joking. My theory is someone refrigerated and possibly nommed these girls. Oh boy, Dan. So, Lizanne's still had some flesh attached to the bones, and the boot that held her foot, the foot was not fully decomposed. The boot had protected the foot pretty well. And Chris's bones. Now this is where it gets like, well, that's interesting. Her bones had been bleached, which now removes the question of an animal got to them. Because animals aren't going to bleach bones. And there was, if I remember correctly, slight traces of lye also on the bones. Which means somebody tried to accelerate the decomposition. Again, we're not going to have an animal attack here. That was what was originally assumed, was that this must be animal attack, or... I guess, well, the first theory was that they were lost. They had gotten lost. We were going to go search for them. We're going to find them safe and sound, probably hungry and dehydrated. I had a hiccup. Hungry and dehydrated, right? That went away. Now that we have the bones, oh, it must be an animal attack. With the bleach and the lye. Well, that's not going to be an attack now. And now we are just kind of stuck here. Left with way more questions than we did at the beginning. If they had just been found, just kind of randomly scattered around, makes sense. But they weren't. So here we go. Here is where we come to the theory part of it. That's the story. That's the, like, what we know about Lizanne and Chris. They're gone. They've died by some mysterious means. And we don't understand what happened. So let's get into the theory. Now, everybody has their own theories, of course. Dan has some nums theory. This is the most, like, widely... I'm gonna tell you 2 widely accepted theories, okay? The first one is that these 2 girls went on a trail that was meant to be for naive hikers up to a halfway point, and then expert at the end, where you really kind of needed a guide. And they unfortunately got lost, and Chris was at some point became injured, either by, I think usually they say something along the lines of a broken ankle, she hit her head, she slipped and fell. And when this happens, Chris and Lizanne are both calling for help at this point. And using their phones to try to get signal. And at some point... we're gonna say around April 5th, because that is when the last time that the phone was used, that Chris's phone was used with her PIN. Okay. So we're thinking April 5th, probably around in the evening. Chris succumbed to her injuries, died. And now we have Lizanne trying to use Chris's phone to call for emergency help. But Lizanne doesn't know signal. She doesn't know the PIN. So, that's about it. And Lizanne eventually dies herself, probably from dehydration, starvation, along these lines. And animals found the bodies and had a very lovely meal. And circle of life goes on. And that's a pretty, like, simple, logical theory, right? We have, what is that saying? There's a saying. Oh, that the simplest answer is probably the one that, like, the most logical answer is probably what happened. But now we have the whole bleached bones thing, which kind of completely ruins this theory. Occam's razor, yeah. So this basically ruins this theory, because an animal isn't going to bleach the fucking bones after, man. And put lye on it. Completely ruins this theory. The second theory, where it gets a little bit murdery. Starts out very similar. Go on a trail, go on an expert trail, and get lost. Now, remember what I mentioned at the very beginning, is that we have a local town and a lot of indigenous people, okay? These people are off the map. They are not, you don't go talk to them. They can be aggressive. We have no idea. We don't mess with them. So this theory is that they managed to basically, again, this is Panama. The trails aren't clear. It's not clearly marked. You have to know where you're going. That Chris and Lizanne accidentally invaded on an indigenous area, their spot, and met somebody aggressive in that way. Chris and Lizanne was probably killed, and this picture of the back of Chris's head was taken by the murderer as kind of like a, oh yay, I love your hair, you know, trophy-ish, okay? And took the phones. So the murderer would have taken the phones, tried to get into, Lizanne's phone was dead, so at that point, doesn't matter. Tried to get into Chris's phone, but of course didn't have the pin, so they kept entering in the wrong one. And they eventually gave up. And now we have 2 murdered girls and a murderer who doesn't want to be discovered. So they, of course, take the bodies, bleach Chris's, or, put some lye on the bodies, trying to increase decomposition time, and then tries to get rid of evidence. Gets rid of the backpack, places the backpack there, where it would be discovered. And then 2 months later, when the murderer was feeling like there was maybe a little bit too much heat on them, maybe the search parties were going around, people are still, at this point, 4 months after their death, I imagine there's probably some force coming through there to try to see what they could do. Probably friends and family are still there. Chris and Lizanne's family, the poor things, they would go back and forth from where they were from to staying in Panama for a little bit, back and forth as often as they could, which is understandable for family, right? So maybe the murderer felt like people were getting a little too close, whatever, and took care of the remains, probably placed the remains near the river, and then animals came across it, kind of just the corpse, the bones, basically. Because that's the other thing. It's like, why would you keep the shorts of one of the girls? I don't know which shorts it was, but somebody's shorts. It feels very trophy. And the ultimate thing is that nobody knows. We're stuck here with these way more questions than answers. And every answer that they were able to get in 2014 just led to more questions. We found the backpack. That's great. Why are there all these pictures? What do these pictures mean? What is going on? Find parts of the body. Oh my god, that answers the question. What happened to them? But why are the bodies like this? Nobody knows. And even to this day, Chris and Lizanne's family are still trying to find some sort of answer. They're trying to work with the Panama government, the Panama working with them. It's still an unsolved mystery to this day. Nobody knows. So again, everybody has their theories. Dan, for your theory, I don't believe that there was any evidence of teeth marks, either by an animal or human. So I think that that's another thing that kind of has a problem. These bones are pristine, placed there. That's weird. Just bizarre. Any cahoodles. That is the story of the Panama missing hike. Lizanne and Chris. That's kind of just where we are. Anyway. Save my file. I don't need to save my file. I'm done with my file. Alright. So, that is our stream for today, or that is the story for today. Let me see. Let's go ahead and see what I'm on off with. So, I actually managed to... You know what? Actually, I think I managed to do more of the border than I thought I was going to. I should really, put a stitch marker so we can see the progress at the end of the stream. That's a good idea for next time. Speaking of next time is our uber special Halloween episode. I am incredibly excited. Incredibly excited. And next time, for the viewers that are here, you guys get a sneak peek. We will be talking about the Bunny Man, which is a very fun story. Well, not fun story. It's a story. Very Halloween appropriate. How about that? So I'm very excited for that. The other thing is that if I'm lucky, I might be affiliate by Halloween, which would be actually insane. And it's all thanks to everybody's support, and I really appreciate all of you. And yes, I think that might be the end of Cozy's Cabin. Woo affiliate, yes. That means I can get emotes and do sound redeem. I meant to ask, are you familiar with Bose the YouTuber? I am not familiar with Bose. You'll have to send me stuff. And the stream didn't drop today? It did not. That's shocking. It did last time. I'll send you a video of hers. You might like her style. Thank you. I appreciate that. Please do. Let me see. Anything else that we have on the docket today? If not, I think we're gonna go ahead and tell you what, you guys find something. If you guys have anything else, while I go search for somebody to raid real quick. Yeah. Is there anybody? Hydra, could you find me somebody to raid? Hydra is looking for somebody. Oh, Hazmat! Can you send me the spelling of Hazmat? Because I suck at spelling. In case you guys didn't know. I can't do math and I can't spell either. A very bad moth. Thank you, Hazmat TV. Love it. BT. Alright. Hazmat, there we go. Alright, everybody. Well, I will go ahead and I will see y'all next time for our lovely Halloween episode. I'm uber excited, and I hope you guys all have a great rest of your evening. And I don't really have a raid message. Do moth raid, I guess. I don't know. We'll go with that. Poopy moth raid. There you go. Do that. Close enough. Alright, everybody. Y'all have a great night. I will see you next week.
Hazmat, corrosive black ooze. The corrosive weapons don't touch her. What are you doing? Hello? We're currently playing some Katamari, the new one. Hello, Chaotic Tavern. Welcome in. This is Plants from a lot of